very back, the gentleman in the gray jacket with the striped tie. Yes, you.
I would like to know what to tell people when they ask me about AIDS.
Okay. All right. That said, I will try to answer your questions. And I'm very thankful that you've invited me to come and share what I think I know with you. I want to talk to you a little bit about this moment in time before I tell you a little bit more about what NASA is contributing to this initiative. As you all probably know from an economic point of view, we're in kind of untested waters and rather desperate times. We're not really sure where our economy is going. There's an enormous amount of debt. There may or may not be a piece of legislation this fall to fix that or begin to address that. There may be automatic cuts. This is just a very sort of scary time to think about the future. I'm also convinced that in scary times and in difficult times, there's enormous opportunity. And I think one of the things that the Obama administration has done is to call attention to the fact that a nation that does not innovate is a stagnant nation. A nation that does innovate is a dynamic and thriving nation. And I think we want to be a dynamic and thriving nation. So 18 months ago, as Elaine noted, I actually came to Colorado looking to see if maybe Colorado might be a place to pilot what the Obama administration has called the development of a regional economic innovation cluster. I firmly believe, and I think that my NASA colleagues do, that an investment in the region from building from the ground up and looking for synergies and cross-fertilization is actually something that can change the shape of the future. That said, the question you probably have is, well, what's NASA doing here, okay? And how does your mission relate to what we're trying to do? And why CAMT? And why Colorado? And what does the future hold? So, okay. This is the NASA that you all probably know and love. We saved you from the Russians, we landed on the moon, we're very courageous, and we're really smart people, okay? Well, that was how many years ago? That was decades ago, okay? We're not that NASA anymore, as you all know, all right? But we're still smart bears. And can you imagine what it takes to hang out there in the middle of space, in the vacuum of space, and repair a telescope? Right? This is a program, this is a project. You can actually see this, you can touch it. But understand that behind that photo lies decades and decades of technology development, of studied technology transfer, of invention, of university research, of corporate execution. That's a photo, but behind that photo there's years of hard work, okay? And this is hard stuff. Think about this. What does it take for a human being to be up there and to come back home alive? What does it take to keep him alive in a self-contained system? When you go up to space, you can't go back and get your hammer. You can't go get a Band-Aid because you're hurt. You are completely self-sustaining, not unlike the renewable energy, not unlike requirements of renewable energy. You have to be sort of self-sustaining, you have to be small, you have to be contained. You have to have all the resources that you need with you. You have to produce your own energy. You have to clean your own water, filter your own water. The technologies involved in these two fields of discipline, aerospace and energy, are very, 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 very similar at their root, at their core. All right? You can't read this, but this just tells you we work in extreme environments, and the technology we develop has to work. It has to work in an extreme environment. It has to keep humans and equipment functioning and alive. And it's probably never been done before. As I'm trying to show you here, the sort of synergies both in the substance and the manufacturing, the components, the supply chain, and in basically the topics between aerospace and clean energy. This is an eye chart, you probably don't want to read that. One of the things I can tell you is, you might say, well, what's in it for me? I'm not an aerospace company, I'm not an energy company, and I don't really understand why I would want to participate in your technology acceleration program or even in your park. Well, let's take the example of Bloom Energy, which is a company located at the Ames Research Park in California near our Ames Research Center. Bloom Energy actually built battery storage capabilities for the space program. And they thought, I wonder if we could apply this on Earth. And they actually got the technology, and they have now developed what they call Bloom boxes, which are being deployed in the developing world to provide energy to small and large communities. Another issue in space that we've had to work on for space exploration is energy generation. Well, we now have a company that's a spin-off company called Omega, which uses the motion of the waves and algae to actually create fuels on the surface of the ocean through algae in pouches, all right? Well, we're not just about environment technologies that can be used in clean energy and clean tech in the environment. These are our 14 technology roadmaps. And each one of these technology roadmaps contains a series and a suite of technological challenges, technologies we'll need, technologies we haven't developed and we know we'll need, and then some things that we'll develop and see if we fork off on an option during our path of technological development. All right? We have to transfer technology. It's the law. It's the rule. And most federal labs do. Our innovation process at NASA is pretty complicated. I don't think I would want to be a person sitting in Colorado or California or New Orleans trying to figure out who to contact if I want to have acquire a piece of technology or talk to someone who has expertise in a technical field. I'm not sure I want to not navigate that. It's a complex system. And this is our partnership model and our value proposition. And what it basically says, if you follow it all the way up to the top right-hand corner, that's where the ACE Park is, that's where the Colorado Technology Acceleration Program is, that's where our partnership is in Colorado. It's high value to the partner and high value to the government. All right, so partnering with NASA is complicated. Our partnership with CAMT simplifies that process for Colorado. What do I mean by that? I mean that we have boots on the ground here through our partnership with CAMT and through our technical advisors, where if a company in Colorado is interested in acquiring a particular technology, they can simply do one-stop shopping and say, you know, does NASA have anything on this energy problem I'm looking into? Or how about fluid dynamics or materials research? And the technical capability of the advisors in Colorado can locate the proper person at the NASA Center, tell you if where the patent is, who holds the patent, and whether or not it's available for license. All right? Now, I understand that that's only one method of getting technology out to the private sector, but this is the nation's technology, it's your technology, you pay for it, and it is NASA's position that you should be able to use it in a very productive and easy way. So we're setting up a speed licensing program, and CAMT will be the center, the focus of that. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to take a couple-month period and dry run it and see how many licenses or pending licenses that we can issue. NASA historically, let's just take last year, we had 1,000 new technology reports, and they sort of trickled down into 100 patents and patent applications, and they trickled down into 12 licenses agency-wide issued. That's not a lot, right? Now, what we're trying to do through the speed licensing program is prove that in each economic region of the country, we can actually get federal laboratory technology out into the hands of the people who need it and want it. NASA technology actually has made impacts in these 7 or 8 areas, from consumer goods to public safety to industrial productivity and to health and medicine. And the reason I even mentioned this to you is, again, because NASA technology and NASA transfer technology is in all of your lives. If you have a cell phone, the chip in that cell phone for the camera was made and miniaturized for spacecraft, interstellar and interplanetary spacecraft. So how many of you have a cell phone? Hold up your cell phones, okay? Well, I'm sure you all have cell phones, because if you don't, you're troglodytes, okay? And you're not troglodytes, because you live in northern Colorado, so by definition, you're very advanced. So you all have cell phones. There was a company from NASA developed a system for actually working on the engines and the nozzles on engines. And this system dealt with the high volume and high pressure. It was transferred to the fire safety industry, and it is currently used in the nozzles of fire hoses. This is the product I was talking to you about, the little chip. And here is the fire hose. This puts out a fire 80% quicker than normal fire hoses, and it takes only 6% of the water that's used in a normal fire hose. Another thing that NASA did is, in terms of friction in engines, we developed a technology that we are able to use to reduce friction in engines and prolong the life of the engine and minimize the amount of energy it uses. You find this everywhere, in elevators, in escalators, and in small and large engines across the country. Back in the early 60s, we developed an inflatable balloon to go and do some NASA experiments. That's been used in the earthquake for communications for the post-recovery in Haiti. And it's been used in disaster relief to enable quick start communication. So NASA technology has a lot of what I call unintended consequences. And these unintended consequences that yield new technologies and new projects and new products are things that we're interested in focusing on. We particularly are interested in developing the technology acceleration program because if you are a small company or you know a small company, you know that you have an idea, you know that you have fundamental research or basic research at a university, there is an idea, there is a technology, there is something discovered. We call that a very low technical readiness level from like 0 to 1.0. And as this discovery goes through a life cycle, in many cases it can end up so that there's a product that comes out of this, it's developed, there's a prototype, and then the particular company or the organization that holds this prototype wants to go to manufacturing. But what happens is instead of going to manufacturing and changing the future of the universe, the product falls into what we call the valley of death. No venture capitalist, no way to fund it, no way to scale up, no way to manufacture it, and it dies. And it dies after a lot of years of investment, of lifeblood and intelligence and funding. And so one of the things that the Technology Acceleration Program does that we have with CIOT is to actually eliminate or mitigate that valley of death. And this is an initiative